Welcome to This and That. I'm Marcel, and
I'm Angie.
all right. So this is a new ministry coming from New Covenant of Peace, and Angie and I are just gonna be talking about this and that, right? So we're gonna have a whole bunch of topics and subjects to discuss, and one of my favorite things going on that I want to discuss, before we get started, is that they just said June 15th, Angie, I can get a haircut, and so I'm waiting on that. I got one more week to get rid of this and this. I'm so happy, but after and so y'all at home don't have to look at Teen Wolf anymore. So, uh, so, but yeah, we welcome you. Thank you for allowing us into your streaming device on this Friday evening. And Angie, you have anything you want to say?
Actually, yeah, because actually, while you're waiting to get a haircut, I'm waiting to get Sadie groomed myself. She has long hair. She's gotten mad because her hair is so long. She don't like to be a comb or brush it when it gets wet, easily tangled. And Petco is like taking forever to open a grooming. I call every other day to see when they're gonna open. So I thought that once the governor like lifted the stay-at-home order, that they would be open. You could just go in, it'd be fine. No, I'm still waiting. So I understand your pain.
You know, I just seen a news report that this one hat groomer had opened and they had booked within like the first day all the way up into July.
I know. That's why I keep trying to call every day to make sure I get in there.
And so I'm like, that's interesting. Uh, that that many people. When I seen people, they was actually cutting their dogs on here like by themselves, like they got those shaggy type dogs, and
Yeah.
just so the dogs can see or whatnot. But they were
I
saying how
tried
much
that.
a
I
struggle it
tried
was.
like some of the her matted hair,
Uh huh.
and I did pretty good a little bit. But then I basically cut her a little bit underneath. So I said, okay, put this down. So that's what happened with that. Yeah, I
Okay.
tried. So I have a quick question for you to start us off. A little warm up, a little bit here. So today I was listening to Andrew Womack, and he was talking about a 5-part series on Your Words Have Power. And he said something in there that made me like stop and think and to give like a self analysis of myself. Like, did I do that? I don't think I did that. So he was talking about how when you give your word and commit yourself to something, your word is you said words are powerful. He went like really deep detail in it, but we don't have time for all that. So the run of the mill part of it is that he was saying basically like your words have power and you need to do what you say. And so are you a woman or man of your word? And if you do, you represent God like that. And when you're not, then you're not being God-like. Because God always keeps his word no matter what. So one example he used was he had a person come to the church to prepare something. The person was like 20 minutes late, and he was like, hey, we don't need your services anymore. You said 10 o'clock, it's 10:20, you didn't call. So it made me like, oh my gosh, I commit myself to stuff like willy-nilly all the time. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. And I'll like not do it. So then I'm like, wow, I'm not a woman of my word. So Marcel, are you a woman, a man of your word?
Yeah. Well, I hope I'm not a woman. But I'm a man of my word. I think. I hope I am. Because usually when I commit myself to something, I try to be like really loyal to it, and so I try to be like really prompt and on time to stuff, and I try to, follow like the same groups of patterns. When I say I'm going to be a part of a project or a team or something, I really try to commit myself to it and make sure that I'm there for everyone else, my team members and everyone. Um, and so I think I am, but unless you see something in me that I don't see.
I don't know. I just looked at myself like, wow, I'm not. I try to be, but then I realized a lot of times and not, I'll be like, yeah. So today I was practicing it. Like we said, we're gonna come on here 10 minutes earlier. I can look at the clock like, your stuff's busy. Because prayer, we go to prayer in the morning. I'm always like a couple of minutes late. Even though we're agreed to a certain time, but it was just I found it funny because he was saying how you don't give no value, you don't give value to words, you just say whatever, and God put words in my mouth to be life and spirit, So we do have power with that. So I thought that was funny.
Okay. So so after that, after self evaluation, is there anything that you're looking to do differently or?
Well, I think I need to be more focused on purpose. Like when I commit myself to something, I have to do it. So I'm going to be more mindful of what I commit myself to. So I just be like, yeah, I'll do it. Because in that moment, like, yeah, I'll do it. And and be like, oh man, why did I say I'll do that? And then I wouldn't do it because I'm full of it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to think first before I commit myself, and then once I commit myself, make sure I do it, no matter what.
Do you think that's something that happens to a lot of people in the body of Christ?
I think so. Yeah. You don't think about it. I think you maybe not. Yeah, I think for a lot of people, I think it's probably good for people that like just be on it like that all the time. But I don't know. I know I'm not. I realized that when you said that, I was like, oh, yeah. I changed my mouth. I'm like, can we do it tomorrow, or can we not do it at all? I don't want to do it now. See, I'm not being a woman of my word.
Okay. Well, that's pretty cool that you had that moment of introspection and just that quick you could find something to work on within yourself, right? And so I think that we kind of see that in a lot of ministries around the world, right, where they kind of have that same issue where, people commit themselves to something, but they're not always faithful to it. And it's not maybe that, it's the enemy getting into it, but maybe just the person just overcommitted themselves or overextended themselves in the moment. And then, then they look up like, oh, I got too much going on right now. And so, it makes them look like they're really disinterested when they're not.
Well, I'm going to try to practice it. I'll let you know how it goes.
I'm just looking over at the comments here. I'm looking at YouTube, and I'm going to switch over to Facebook too and just see, how people are doing. I know we got a couple of shares. And again, this is This and That with Angie and Marcel. And, we're just talking about this and that. We're going to have a bunch of different topics. And so I think you want to lead off with a discussion for this evening, right?
Yep.
Okay. And so I think we're talking relationships, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So basically, one of my first ones, you want me to go first or you want to go first?
Hey, go ahead.
Okay, so during the stay-at-home order, after, you basically at home, can't go anywhere, can't do anything, so it's like you have all this time on your hands. I noticed that, like, when I walk my dog, a lot of people was in their yard, more than I've seen before, like any other summer. Like, everybody's out there in their yard, doing some type of yard work or whatever. And so I was just curious about, during the stay-at-home we had the downtime, what did you discover about yourself? Like, did you discover talent you didn't know you had? Did you learn something new you've always been meaning to learn? And for me, I did my braids for the very first time.
Okay.
And I was on YouTube. I'm like, I got all the time. Maybe I need to do something to my hair. Got on YouTube, found somebody who taught easier to me, for beginners, on how to do knotless box braids. And I was just so frustrated because I couldn't get it. I don't understand what she's doing. What's that last part? What is she doing? And so finally I was going to quit, but then I was like, Holy Spirit, help me, teach me, what am I missing? I'm not getting this. And so it's literally like right after I said that, boom, it opened up to what she was doing, and I got it, and I started doing it. It took me 4 days, though. It took me 4 days. On the fourth day, I got done at 5 o'clock p.m. And then my sister was like, hey, do me. So I started to practice on her. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm just wondering, like, did you discover anything new? Did you learn something new or during that time or what?
So during this time, I've been improving with watching a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of different things about management time, management money, get more into investments, and then also being more diligent about starting business and running a business. So I actually formed partnerships, and now I got went through classes about MBAs and non-disclosure agreements and supplier lists, and so I get all that documentation that I didn't have before together, and just learning how tiresome it is doing all that stuff. And so, but having the opportunity to sit down and not running here, there, and everywhere, it really helped out in that. So I learned some new stuff concerning that. And so it's been a very beneficial time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been good too. It's been good. I've even made some facial scrub.
Facial scrub.
Yeah, I did my own feet for the first time, and because you just have all this time, it's like you got all this time to kill. Like, let me see what I can make. What can I do? So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Okay. I don't know how much I can say, but because I was just talking about non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, but I'm under one, and so and so I was actually applied for a fellowship. I'm not going to say what it is until they give me the okay. And so I did that, doing the prep work for that, and then I'll be starting probably the end of this month with it. And so um, I guess I'll make that announcement. Should be ready to make that announcement the next time we come on. And so yeah, it's been a busy time, but a productive time.
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah,
it's been good.
So, and then also after that, we what about this time for singles and being cooped up in the house? I know you have some thoughts about that. You know, is that difficult for you? You think that's difficult for people?
It wasn't difficult for me, but I'm pretty sure. But then I haven't been really dating yet. I mean, in a while. So, but I do know some people that actually found ways to date on Zoom, or some of them who I guess been dating for a minute, who they were already hanging with before the stay-at-home order and before the virus got really out of control. So they kind of still would go over that person's house and just that person's house. So I guess you call it your cuddle buddy during for the pandemic.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so I know a couple people that's done that. So I guess it just depends on the person. You know how you want to do it. Some people, I know for sure, have used Zoom.
Okay.
And other little areas. So I guess they're making it work somehow.
Okay, cause that's a kind of a funny thing. I know that when this whole thing first started, there was all these jokes about these little Corona babies coming, or I'm not supposed to say that word, the C word. I call it the beer virus. We get YouTube penalizes they penalize people for using that word actually. So we want to get as many views as possible. But yeah, they've been getting a little the joker that all these kids is gonna pop up around November. So
home together.
It's so that's not gonna obviously be the reality with you. So but what advice would you give people? Because me and you, we're kind of looked at as people who keep ourselves, and we do. But a lot of people struggle with that. We get a lot of questions about how do you keep yourself? How do you resist urges? How do you deal with dating and this whole culture that we have? Because even doing research for today, it's interesting that they mention a lot about this culture called hookup culture.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard of that term before.
Yeah.
But it's just like a lot of times now everything's just casual, right? And so people are not even dating to get to know people. It's just like, hey, you want to meet up at 8:00? And it's just like throw all caution to the wind. This is what I want now, and I personally know how I feel about it, but I just want to get your thoughts on that.
The hookup thing. Well, for me, the hookup thing is not for me. I don't do casual. I've never really done casual. I don't really like casual like that. But I more so would not be a casual hookup person. So, but I think it's more so if you're not looking for a relationship and you're just looking for fun. I think it works for people who's looking for something to do. Or maybe it probably works better for people who just broke up out of a serious relationship. They're heartbroken, so they just looking at, distraction, get their minds off the other person or whatever. So they just do a hookup. And I think it's just easier than dealing with a lot of emotional stuff.
Okay.
And then I guess when you're really ready to get a relationship, I guess, I don't know, you probably just stop looking up at that person. Maybe some of them don't. I don't know. They probably don't know.
That seems like
having sex and stuff is probably kind of hard to separate. So even when you get a relationship, you still might dabble with the person you're hooking up with.
I was just about to say that I think that's something that would seem like it'll set you up sort of for failure emotionally, right? You get these feelings or these soul ties, maybe, or maybe that it doesn't happen that often.
More so the women, I think it's more depending on the person. Mm-hmm. I know some women who can handle it and be like, whatever. And then, but I think majority of women, because how God created us to be all emotional and stuff like that, and nurturing, I think that for some women, it could be like the downfall because you end up probably falling for the guy or have some influence for the guy. You want more, the guy don't want more. I don't know. I think it could get missed. It might get missed. But some people can handle it. I don't know. I know people who have done it. Some didn't end so well. And some was able to be like, "Yep, I'm done." Okay. So it just depends on the person, I think.
Okay. Because I hear what you mean about the women, and I caught what you said because, you know, more so for the women, because a lot of guys, you know, we're kind of trained from a child, like, that's kind of your identity, right? To get as many trophies as possible, so to speak. You know, that's kind of like your identity in the world. The world kind of tells you that, like, you're not a man unless you're doing this. But really, I don't think that was God's intention, right, for us as guys. You know, he always kind of kept us with one person. But I think we got this thing where I think it's conquest, like this thing about our egos and who we are as men, and it kind of feeds us, right? And so when you have this culture of, you know, you're not a man, you need to go do this, you need to go do that, and you know, I think it wears on the psyche. So a lot of guys are like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do, this is where I am. And so I definitely hear what you're saying there. But here's my thing: why take so much risk? Do guys really think about risk? Because because some people I know who are out there, they don't seem to really care. It's like, yeah, I'm in a relationship, maybe even married, but, you know, I'm about to do this, that, and the other thing. We had to pull them to the side, like, you know, you're wrong. Why is you doing this? And disclosure, ladies, yes, guys do have friends that will go to the other friend and say you're doing wrong. There are some of us who will do that.
Okay.
there are a group of us that will do that. Will they listen? Hardly ever. But we will. But we do it. We do it. We check them on it. And so, so that's sorry guys for giving up that secret, but we do check.
That's a good thing to know. I really didn't think they all like yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I would have never thought that.
It's interesting because it's the way you do it, right? So it's like, on one end, we're like, you know, you doing your girl wrong, blah, blah, blah. She love you, blah, blah, blah. But at the second time, it's almost like a dual standard in the conversation from my experience. Like, well, so, you know, how was it? You know, it's like, you know, it's a weird thing to go through, yeah. But it's real. That's how we do it. But God has never intended for us to sow our wild oats, as they say, you know. Just go around, you know, pollinating, as they say. You know, I don't think that was ever his intention. But how do you find meaningful relationship when you have to stay home and stay safe and stay sheltered? Is there any way to do that?
I think that's probably where, like, people probably have them online apps or something. I think that's where the online apps come in, the dating apps and stuff like that. Because then you're not really. Because even if you go to the grocery store and you see somebody behind a mask, I don't think you'll be too inclined to, like, give him your numbers. You don't know if he got the, you know, the virus. So I wouldn't. I wouldn't do it myself because I don't know. Mm-hmm. So I think that probably made people a little bit more wary. In fact, I noticed that people, even in normal, just going to the store or whatever, they making sure they keep their distance from you anyway. You know what I'm saying? Even with the mask on. So. It's probably like, look, unless you already started dating somebody right before, or you already been dating somebody for a while, I don't know. I don't know if
you see, this is a dangerous time for men because guys, a lot of times we notice eyes first. I know they say we notice other things first, but a lot of times with contact, we notice the eyes first. And so when all you see is this, you know, you have to be extra careful. You know, cause
well, I didn't say that. So, man, look at the eye first. Are you serious?
We actually we captured the eyes and, you know, everything else. We take it all in. We take it all in. We take it all in.
Yeah.
We take it all in.
Oh, but I never knew. I didn't know.
Like, a lot of times we'll look.
All men or some men or majority of men.
I don't know what the percentage is, but I know like particularly if you have like a certain eyeshadow or, you know, eyebrows a certain way, it captures. And so, when you make that eye contact, it attracts instantly. But usually, if you're just walking around, they don't see that initial eye contact, then they're looking at all kinds of stuff, so.
Yeah, because I know when I'll be walking my dog sometimes, they are not looking at my eyes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's why sometimes I try to avoid walking past a house full of men.
Really?
If there are a couple of men, they sitting outside, I just don't like to do it because they get this awkward silence when you walk by. I just hate that.
I never actually thought about that. See, I never actually thought about that because from a male perspective, when the fellas get together and talking, even men, like older men, when they tell you as a child and as a young man, they say, "Oh, these women, they love attention. That you're supposed to look. They like attention and things like that. Their whole world is about attention. So they train you and they tell you stuff about like that. So maybe that's the disconnect.
Well, I mean, I think women like attention, but it's like what type of attention? You know what I'm saying? Don't be the obvious kind or shoot calling your name from across the street. Like, hey, come here. Hey. Because I'm going to ignore that. Don't hey me. You go across the street and approach me, okay? Or when they looking at your butt, like when you're walking down the street, you feel them literally staring at your butt. So
you can feel it. You can feel it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think a lot of women like it.
Okay. See, I have no clue. So I don't know. I know it's just something that's kind of like natural. You just kind of look in. It's almost like expected. It's like expected.
Great, but don't make it so obvious where I feel uncomfortable.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Pastor Barry said, "Data, please." I don't have any data. I don't know. I just know that sometimes some women, it's not all of them, but some women are captivating with their eyes when you first see them. But right now with the mask on, if you're that type of person, it can be dangerous. I don't know the data on that, but I'm sure Google probably have it somewhere. So,
right.
But so that's pretty interesting because I know you said you looked into some dating apps, right, and found maybe some pros and cons.
I didn't look into dating apps. I just looked in like what's the pros and cons. Because I myself already been curious. I know a lot of people do it. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's so much for me though because I just I don't know.
Okay. So, reason why we're talking about this because we're outreaching to a lot of singles and we're talking to a lot of singles and we have a problem in the church nationally where single people are kind of seen like lepers almost. It's not verbalized, but mm-hmm. They have single ministries where it seems like the only purpose of the single ministry is to rail on them about getting married or trying to hook them up with someone. And that's really not the original purpose of a singles ministry. The whole idea is you have a group of people who are a lot more capable a lot of times because they're not settled down with, making sure the kids got to eat and dressing them, getting them to school and taking care of their husband or wife, And so they had that time and that creativity for that moment to kind of do some extra stuff that, a married couple usually can't do. Like you don't see a whole lot of married couples get launched out into a foreign mission field just like while they're married. Now they might get have kids and things over in the mission field, but you don't a lot of times see them, with a full household of kids and everything, getting on an airplane, going and doing those things, or even hosting a whole lot of ministries themselves in a church outside of, just the normal thing. And so just talking about, what about this singleness stuff? How do we function, in singleness, and how to be safe while dating? So I'll be interested to know, what did you find?
Well, what I did was I just did a couple of research on pros and cons on online dating versus traditional dating.
Okay.
Like, which one is, just curious to see what people thought. And it's funny though, because I think to me, I find it kind of split. And I believe it really just depends on the person. I know some people like do online dating and still do the traditional dating. Some people just prefer the online, and then some people just prefer traditional dating. I myself am a traditional dating. That's what I realized when I was going through the research and doing reading a couple of the articles on it. And so when they do the pros and cons, I'm like, oh well, yeah, I'm more this way. So I already kind of knew that already. So what do you think you are?
You know what? Given how much I love technology, you would think I would love online dating. But as I look through my research, the pros and cons of it, I don't think I like it. I don't think I like it. And I could go through my pros and cons after you, but I don't think I care for it too much.
Yeah, it's not. It be definitely out of my comfort zone. It's definitely out of my. I don't like to date. I don't like to. I'm not good with strangers. I meet people more so by work or school or maybe through people you know because you hang out with your friends. They might have a friend and y'all all hanging out all the way together, and something might end up happening and you exchange numbers. But to meet, like if I'm at the grocery store or at a movie theater or something, and somebody walked up to me and I don't know, it's just I think I'm a little shy. Maybe I feel a little because I don't know you. Nothing like you're a stranger. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where my mind goes.
Okay. So we have a question. Should a Christian use a dating app or just trust God for the right person?
Oh, definitely trust God for the right person. But while you're looking through the dating, I don't think you can use the dating app. I think you can like say, hey, God, so everybody do the dating app, or even if you're going through, you like this is like I think you're going to stay prayerful while you're doing it, because I think you just kind of like open yourself up. It's just my opinion.
Okay.
So if you're praying right, because it's no different from traditional dating, as in you meet somebody and you go on maybe first or second date and you start asking God like, is this the one, Lord, or should I stop dating him? Should I start dating him? Like, what is? I think if you're doing that from the very beginning, I don't think it matters. My opinion.
Okay. Okay. Another question: do you believe in love at first sight? I think it's possible.
Do you?
I think it's possible. You don't think so?
How? You don't even know the person. You know nothing of the person. You meet them and you fall up in first sight. Yeah.
There's been stories of people they make that contact that they bump into each other. It's not just romance movies either. It's like people actually said, I looked at that person and I knew they was the one, and so I don't know. I think it's possible though. I think it's possible to have that connection where you see someone and you're just like
a connection, but love.
Like love.
Like you have like that spark, that connection, that instant attraction. But I don't know. How do you know it's love and not just a strong physical attraction? How do you know?
That's a good question. Because I think it would have to start with the conversation, right? Beyond just looking at someone, and then just having that.
Okay, what do you mean? Okay, if you mean love at first sight, you see somebody across the room, like boom, that's him right there, or that's her right there. How do you know? Just because that instant eye contact of attraction, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I'm in love. That's the one. I'm gonna marry her.
Some have done that. Some have claimed that. So I don't know. I guess, I think that it's the intense attraction, and then
that's what I'm saying. Is it love or intense attraction?
And then over time, maybe the love develops, with the chemistry. You think so?
But I also know sometimes you can have intense attraction for somebody and it can just fizzle out. Right?
That's true. That is true. Okay, we got a comment that said that's when you spend time to get to know the person. So, but again, with the fizzling out of the love, though, a lot of that is because, do you think it's because they're not keeping a spark, or is it just maybe they figure out later that this is just not working, it's beyond repair?
Well, you know what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna change my original answer because I honestly don't know. It's never happened to me.
Okay.
So that's why I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think I'm the type of person that like cross the room. Hey, you're the one. Because I like to be like, let me talk to you. Let me see you how you are. Let me figure some things out. And do we flow together? Do you flow with my family? Like I think about all that kind of stuff. So I mean, so you know what? I'm gonna leave a question mark. I'm gonna leave it open. I'm gonna be open minded, and I'm not gonna. So I take back my word. I said no. I don't think that's true. I'm gonna go with I don't know because I've never.
So have you ever had the time where you met someone and the chemistry was just so strong and you was almost certain that this was the person, and then you find out that it's not the. You never had that.
You know what? My relationship, my ex, we were friends. We was just friends, and it just happened like that. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. But I think somebody like, like is the track like, oh, he's cute, but not like, oh, I think.
Okay.
Would you?
I fall in love with someone at sight. It never happened. I think like a lot of guys, it's lust at first sight. You see someone, you like, I need to talk to her. But as far as like love, I can't say at first sight. No, I think it's more physical.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Well, I know for myself it is.
Yeah, I think it's more physical.
I know. Like, okay, let me ask you this question. So you have a person who you don't know, a complete stranger.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you have two of them. One is you find attractive, you're attracted to right away. The other one, you're not so attracted to him, right? Mm-hmm. Not your type. Now, would you still go for the one who's not your type? Because they always say, go beyond the obvious, go into the insides, what matters. With a complete stranger, can you go beyond the outside to get to know the inside of the person? Complete stranger.
There have been instances where people who I wouldn't typically be attracted to after spending time with them, I'm like, oh, I kind of like this person. They're a cool person. But at that point, I don't think they're a complete stranger at that point because time would have been spent.
Right. No, I mean, like, you first meet them. How, like, I'm a girl, right? So a guy come up and try to talk to me. Not my type. So instantly I'm like, yeah, I'm not a type. That's not my type. So should I go beyond him? Because maybe the inside, maybe he's a cool guy, good guy. On the inside. But, But for me, a complete stranger, if I'm not attracted to you, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be honest. The only way I will get beyond the looks is if we just hanging out as friends. And then I become attracted to the inside. What do you think?
I'm more aligned of, I think it's that first physical attraction. Because I'm not inclined to approach you if you're not attractive.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So yeah, I think it's that initial attraction is needed, and it says, do you believe in a God connection? I believe in a God connection because I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen a lot of times for others, and so I believe that God has someone for everyone. So I believe in those God connections. Yeah.
I do too. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that brings us to: do you just wait on God, or do you go through some of these profile apps? Do you think we should go through these online dating apps? Because I know that's kind of a deep question. Because at the same time, some people say they found love on these apps, but and then we don't want to put God in a box at the same time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Right. You know what I do first? I would say, God, is it okay for me to go on a dating app? And if so, which one? Now, if he leads me to do that, then absolutely I would do that. But if he tells me no, I don't get an answer, I'll wait till I get an answer. If he tells me no, then I won't. That's my answer. That's actually what I would do.
Okay. And so you have some pros and cons of dating. Did you want to go through those?
Yeah.
I want to compare.
Okay, so I found a couple articles, but for time's sake, I just stuck to the one from HuffPost that I found. And so a couple of pros and cons for online dating. The first pro is they're saying that 1 out of 5 relationships start online, whether it's social media, Facebook, Twitter, mobile app, or whatever. The con, however, is that people lie about their ages. That's one thing why I say you never know a person's lying. It could be a woman instead of a man, or they could be catfishing you. You just never know. So weight, height, income, marital status, and then they say you can also get frustrated after a few bad dates. You ever watch that show, Married at First Sight? No, it's not Married at First Sight. It's 90 Day Fiance.
90 Day Fiance. I heard of it. I never seen an episode about. I know of it.
No, you have to watch it. Let me tell you why. Because I lied to you not. I cannot make this stuff up. These people meet people like across the country, which number one, I don't know why, because that's such a distant relationship in another country. Come on. And then, so they get engaged, and then they go over to visit, and then they have a certain amount, 90 days to get married or not, right? So this one particular guy, he was kind of like short, staunchy, like looking. He wasn't that attractive. I didn't find him attractive. But the girl was like 23, and he was like 50. And what he did was he lied about his height, and he lied about, and he lied and said he wanted more kids, because she had a little boy, and she said she wanted more kids, and he said he wanted more kids. So basically, the short version of, they did not get married because she caught him in the lie. Number one, about his height. Like, I don't know why he lied about his height, because he's so short, like she was not going to notice that when they met in person. Number two, he finally admitted he didn't want kids. In fact, he wasn't even comfortable being a stepfather to her son. So when she found that out, she was like, "This is not going to work." They didn't break it up. So it was a waste of time. I don't even remember what country this was. He actually flew to this country. It's ridiculous. But anyhow, that's one of the things about online dating.
I never understood that.
And then another pro is meet people outside of your geographic area and social a circle with similar interests. Meet more people so you can learn what you're truly looking for. A con is when people can become addicted to some of the sites, and they'll stop meeting offline, or they're just looking for a pretty face. Okay, and then let's go to offline. So offline, the pro is have friends in common, which we talked about, which would make you more comfortable, which that works for me. A con is that you're not really sure of their relationship status. But I don't know why they said that, because you can actually ask if they're single or not, or check with your friends. So I don't know. And then a pro is you can determine if there's chemistry in person. Whereas if you meet somebody online and think you have chemistry, then you meet in person, it's like, and you just kind of in the date as fast as you can. Mm-hmm. Whereas in person, you can be like, oh, there's no spark here, I'm moving on. And then a con would be you are not limited to your existing social circles or regular activities, and you basically meet less. So you want me to do a couple more, or you have some? So I didn't want to take up all the time.
Oh, you're good. I did have some pros and cons from the online aspect, and some of the pros is that it can help separate who's serious and who's not. And so a lot of people get into dating, and in real life, you don't really know a person's intentions. So it also expands your pool of fish, so to speak, and so you have more people to pull from. That's True. Another pro. And it says it offers like a personalized matching your preferences. So like, what type of looks you like, what type of religion are you, those things that could kind of impede a relationship. You could kind of like go into the settings and filter people out based off of that. Whereas you might take more time in real life filtering people out, So, and it says you can make your you can make yourself your image more interesting up front, So you can make yourself look better than what you are right up front, That's one pro that they say, but that goes back. I think that's a con, though. I think that's kind of a con.
That's a con. Because if you make yourself look better, and I see you in person, I'll be so disappointed. I'm not gonna even go past that. Just the fact that
Yeah, because I don't get it, because that reminds me of the guy you just said. The guy who was short and he lied about it. What's the purpose of that? Because you're going to meet the individual, and if they're not into short people, why would you do it? And so, why would you lie about your appearance?
Look like you look so good, and then because that's like the worst thing you do. You need to let them see what you look beforehand, so they don't be disappointed.
Mm-hmm. So that was the pros, but the cons is the danger of unknowing. And like you said, it could be dangerous. You don't know. There's so much uncertainty. they say it's time consuming. That's something I didn't think of. Going through the different apps, swiping left, swiping right, picking, choosing. Do we set up a date? Do we not? It's time consuming. And then they said, and I never thought about this, the financial investment. A lot of these apps require a subscription or a fee.
Yeah.
According to them. So
that's one main reason right there why I would not use it.
Okay. So there's a money aspect there. And again, they use this as a con. People only portray their best qualities. And so when you read their bio or whatever, their profile, they only portray only the best of themselves, right?
And but you do that in traditional dating too. Like if it's your first date, you put your best foot forward.
Best foot forward, right?
That's why I say you should like take your time in dating, because slowly and surely a person will show you their real self, and then you can find out, do I want to deal with that in this person? Because I don't know.
And then the last one, the last one is private information may not be secure. That can go both ways though, because you get the wrong person.
Yeah.
They could scam you too, but yeah, that's a bigger issue. Online, personal information could be gone. So.
I want to go back to the one where you were saying how it said that I think it was either a pro or con, where they match you up by your religion or your interest or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. I think that's like 50-50. On the only reason why I say that, I don't really have facts to back it up, but it's only my opinion because I watched a show called Marriage at First Sight, where these people actually, they meet at the altar. So it's like they go through these matchmakers, professionals, psychologists, or marriage counselors, whatever they are, and they go by, your religion or what you're into, just to try to get as close as possible to the person, right? Similarities or whatever. And so, but you don't see the person until the wedding day. Like the family, everybody meets all at once for the first time. So you like walking down with a bell on your face, the groom's in at the altar, you walk down, lift the bell, hey, hi, just like that, right?
Right.
And they get married, and they send them on a honeymoon, and then they have to move into their houses together. And the first season, I think all but one couple stay together, right? Because I don't think that always works, because people can still lie about their similarities, you know what I'm saying? So it's still some what do you want to call it? Some negative. You can't get like a person to tell you the absolute 100% truth. That's the thing.
You get to know each other over time, and so that's one of the things about marriage. But getting to really date people into courtship is a word you don't hear no more. But courtship and really getting to know someone ahead of time, those things can reveal and kind of help you steer you into the right marriage. I don't think I like the whole idea of meeting at the altar. I think that's
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, that messes with the sanctity of marriage to me. It just like it's a toy thing, and I don't think it's a toy thing before God. I think it's a serious thing.
But they get a divorce afterwards. Exactly, right? It's like if you can't, they give you like a certain amount of time, see if you can make it work. If you can't make it work, then you meet back up for the final episode, and you say, "Hey, are you going to stay together or go your separate ways?" But you know what? I've seen some episodes where the people were actually disappointed with your people, which is real life true stuff. And if I'm not attracted to you, I can't even kiss you. So if I get out to that altar and you are not, and I'm not attracted to you, I am not going to kiss you at that altar. And I doubt it. I would just go. I wouldn't even do a show like that. Because I know myself.
That's still wild to me. So it's still too wild for me. See, because me personally, I don't even like blind dates. Like when people come to me and they say, I have someone that's interested in you. And the first thing I always say is, what do they look like? Do you have a picture? And if they can't provide it for me, you can ask my friends. I will not respond to it because I just don't feel comfortable. I mean, I don't feel comfortable. I don't like that. So that's one of the worst things you can do for me.
In order for me going on a blind date, which I don't do, but if I were to, it would have to be somebody who know me like inside out and know what type I like and what I'm into. Other than that, it's a no.
Okay. So, in this period, for those who are watching who are not in a relationship, for this period, what should they be doing? What's our overall focus, do you think? Because I have an idea of what we should be doing, and I'll share something.
For what I think would be the overall focus for me, for what I do, is that, because I've been single for a while, and so I just started, like, just working on my relationship with Jesus. I started spending more time with him. I started, like, reading my Bible more, things I wasn't doing beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, when I started doing that, I've actually had a full life, because you spend so much time with him and you get to know him for yourself and building a relationship with him. It's like, I can't even. It's basically like I'm in a relationship. So whatever void I had from missing, that companionship, is like he filled it. Not to say I don't want to get married, and not to say I'm not ready, for a husband, but I'm just saying, in the meantime, by focusing on him and doing whatever assignments he's giving me, my life has been full. I've been having joy. I've been enjoying myself. I've been enjoying being single, and I don't see it as being, oh, poor me, I'm single. When I'm gonna get a husband? When? I can't start my life until I get married. Like, but I know the world sometimes makes us feel like that. I had a person, a friend of the family, and my sister came back and told me that she overheard the conversation, and they basically called me an old maid. They were like, oh, at the time I think I was like in my early 30s, and they were like, oh, I didn't think Angie would be an old maid. I was like, what?
No.
Who that, right? Because I'm not married. So, and then, or I go to wedding receptions with the family and stuff like that, and you have people, oh, when are you going to get married? When are you going to have kids? I don't know. If I knew, I would be married with kids. Like, you want me to run out and get a husband and get knocked up so I can say, hey, I'm married, I got a husband and a baby? So, I don't know. It's the world we live in that puts that pressure.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I just wanted to read from 1 Corinthians 7 and 32. It just says, I would like, and I'm reading from the NIV version, it says, I would like you to be free from concern. An unmarried man is concerned about the Lord's affairs. How he can please the Lord. But a married man is concerned about the affairs of the world, and how he can please his wife, and his interests are divided. But an unmarried woman is concerned about the Lord's affairs, and devoted in the Lord and body and spirit. But the married woman is worried about the affairs of the world and how she can please the husband. And so there's that time that we're in where we're undivided in our attention. We're not worried about how we're gonna feed the kids, how we're gonna get them to school, how we're gonna pay for the mortgage, and all the stuff that comes with family life. The word instructs us to be committed and concentrated on God. Now, is that to say that in between you can't date? No, absolutely not. Because you can go out and look for someone, and but I would encourage you to pray for your mate and say, God, thank you for my future mate, and that's what I'm looking for.
And that's what I've been doing.
Yeah. Because ultimately, you want the person that God has for you. You don't want to miss those God connections because somebody's trying to give you a quick hookup because they feel, woe is you, because of your age, or they feel that you have to be at a certain status by a certain age. Because I think if marriage was the end all be all of happiness, there wouldn't be so many divorce rates in this country.
Yeah.
And so I think we jump into that just a little bit too quick, and kind of make people feel, especially in the church, like, you're not married yet, you're not in a relationship yet. And it's like, you know how many marriage counseling what the marriage counseling rate is in church. So you want to be careful.
Right.
You want to be careful.
I don't want to get a divorce. Hello.
So you got to be careful with that. And so I encourage everyone who is in this time, as we go on this journey of just talking about this and that. That's the name of the show. That we bring these issues and topics before God. But I know relationship is always like a hot topic for people. People love to get in on that. Yeah. But did you have anything else?
Well, the Lord did put it on my heart about in case some women or men are wondering, like, like, what's taking so long for me to get my spouse? I've been doing this, like, so what's the hold up? So, and I've been there, because that was me, like, man, we ain't gonna send me my husband, right? And so, you know how we go to those conventions with Prophetess Kelly now?
Mm-hmm.
with the Ministry of the Watchmen.
Yeah, Ministry of the Watchmen.
So remember that one convention we had where she called people, whoever wanted to be married, come up, and she was like, whoever wanted to be married, come up, and she was giving them a word from God. And so I remember this because it's like 5-6 people down from me. This guy, he got a good word from God. It was like, stop saying you're not ready for marriage. You are ready for marriage, and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, good. Ooh, I can't wait till she gets to me, right? So she gets to me, and she paused, looked at me, and she was like, God said you're not ready. I was like, what? Like, in my head, I was like, what do you mean? I did what he told me to do. I quit my job. I focused in on him. And, like, what do you mean I'm not ready? And then, like, a little while after that, he started showing me more things inside of me that he wanted to heal in me from things that happened in childhood that I can't take into a marriage, So I was broken. I was still broken inside, even though I didn't feel it and I didn't know it. And so, so what I want to do is just encourage to think people, like, if you're wondering, like, what's taking so long, I'm doing all this, you need to just ask God, like I did, like, why am I not ready? And he'll start showing you. What he does is he brings two whole people together and not two halves to make a whole. I know, because a lot of people say, hey, my soulmate, my other half. But what God does, he heals you from the inside out. He makes a whole, and then he brings two whole people together to go out into whatever purpose or plan he has for you. So if you're just curious about why it's taking so long, and like, I feel like I'm doing everything I should be doing for you, Lord, just ask him, like, is it something in me? Like, what is it? And he will show you some things about yourself that maybe you still want to heal or deal with that maybe you can't take into a marriage. So just a little piece of advice,
Okay. I for one, I don't think that a lot of guys have that pressure, same pressure that women do, because I don't see a whole lot of men, and it's just personally me. I don't know. There might be guys out there. If you're a guy out there that's single and you ask this question, like, God, where's my wife at? I don't see a lot of guys verbalize that out loud, but I hear a whole lot of women say that. And I know it's when there's a lot of conferences, or it's a conference with a lot of women, or it's a female pastor. A lot of times they speak to that, like, who in here ready to get their husband? You watch those televangelists on TV and you see them praying for people. Say, God sending you that mate, and I be saying to myself, is that like a true heart's desire? Is that like a part of a desire that God placed in women, or is it just like something natural from your physiology that just like you gotta have that person? Is it like part of your identity? Because I don't see a lot of guys just been like, man, I can't wait to have my wife. I don't see it. And maybe they feel it on the inside, but I don't hear it. But I always hear women.
Right. Yeah, I haven't heard guys really voice that.
Okay. So do you feel that? Like?
Yeah, I think it's much worse for women. It's much worse for women. Like, honestly, let me tell you something, Marcel. I always knew I would not ever get married in my 20s, but I figured I'll settle down and get married in my 30s, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, in my 20s, I didn't want that responsibility. I didn't want none of it. And so, so it's just funny how, but I wasn't obsessed with marriage. For majority of my life, I just never gave it any thought. I figured it happened when it happened. When God happened, it happened. But it wasn't until people started coming up to me and saying, hey, you're not married yet? Man, when you going to have kids? Well, geez, man. By the time, because they started having kids young, they'll say, by the time you have your kids, my kids going to be grown. But you did start kind of early. You know what I'm saying? I didn't say that, but I wanted to say that. But I didn't say it. But in my mind, I'm thinking like, what? So it is definitely a lot more pressure. I started like stressing about it because people started coming to me with it. And so then finally God just told me, he was like, you have time, like stop stressing about this. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be okay. So he just started dealing with me in that area, and I finally got a peace in that area. So he reminded me that I'm spiritual. To the world, that stuff is important. To the world is all that. But for me, my concern is, it's business, and he'll take care of everything else. And that's how I got to.
Okay. So we covered that, and so much that we have that we wanted to cover. We didn't get to George Floyd, and a couple of other things. Did you want to touch on that quickly? What's happening? Do you have any takes or thoughts about what's going on from your perspective?
Well, of course, tragedy. But what I like what I see coming out of it, like more unity, like people protesting like across the world. It's become bigger. It's not just isolated in this day. We protest and I feel so bad, and then it's over. No, this is like people are consistently protesting. They're consistently all around the world. It's become global. So I think it's going to be different. It's going to be a change. You know, I think God is working, and He's bringing something good out of a tragedy. That's what I believe. That's how I see
it. Okay, I've been listening to a lot of ministries and what their people are hearing from God. And, you know, I know that this was supposed to be like the year of the mouth and the year of seeing of the eyes. And people was kind of questioning and doubting preachers. Like, at the beginning of the year, you said all this stuff about vision. And some of the prophets said, you know, this is about going to be the year of the mouth. And so where is it? What's going on? But we see it, but it's happening in a different way that I think any of us understood. And so with this whole pandemic thing going on and the mouth being muzzled and covered up, and then people are really beginning to see now, but they're beginning to see now in a different level of spirituality. And people are now that we're going into the summer months and some of the restrictions are being eased, you begin to see people are beginning to speak, and these young people are speaking out like never before. Like voices are being heard like never before in this country and around the world. And so I'm thinking on the other side of this thing, when we wrap up 2020 going to 2021, we're going to see a great manifestation for the kingdom. We'll be able to look back on this and say, we didn't know how God was going to do it, but He did it. And so it's all being set up right now. And I'm kind of encouraged about the way things is going in my prayers, that the wrong people don't get into it, you know, and that we stay vigilant and prayerful and don't get caught up in our natural emotions, because I know it's kind of easy too. And so I'm thinking that, But I have one question here. And the question is there anything wrong with just being single? Just being single. Anything wrong?
No, if that's what you want to do, I say go for it. If you don't want a husband and kids, hey, they are a lot of work. I don't know personally, but I just think my sister is a lot of.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it, especially if you have like the self-discipline to do it. You have that grace to do it. You know, I think that there's nothing wrong with it. And again, you have more time to commit yourself onto God, and so and go in deeper with Him without some of those other restrictions. And so there's nothing wrong with just being single. I mean, there's nowhere that it says that implicitly that we have to be married. Now I know the word does says it's not good for men to be alone, and but also Paul tells us that, you know, he would, you know, rather we be committed to the things that we're committed to. But if your flesh is burning, then just go off and get married to somebody, because you know you're gonna go into debauchery and all this stuff. We don't want that. Yep. But he really said, you know, look, for this work, you know, it's kind of good for you to not be distracted. Just go for the kingdom at hand. So I think
he prefer for you to stay single.
Yeah. So, you know, so I see no issue with it, and with either one of it. But for those watching at home, we just want you to be safe and know that, you know, if you're in a moment of your life of singleness, that there's so many opportunities to serve Jesus Christ. And so you're not a leper. There's nothing wrong with you. The time is not running out on you. You know, all these things that they try to tell you, you know, and people try to put a time frame on God, you know, with any type of word or prophecy. You know, they'll say, well, didn't God say you're supposed to do this or that? And they'll try to put a time frame when they don't see it. And in the natural, which is a shroud for the spirit, that people do the same thing. They say, well, you're supposed to be married at this certain age. How come? Well, I remember going to school, and they would say, you know, by age 25, you should have be married, have 2.5 kids in a White House with picket fence. A lot of people try to follow that mode, right? And they just marry anybody. I don't know. I still don't know to this day how you get 2.5 kids. You know, how they measure half kids, but that's the data. You know, and so you see a lot of people of different cultures. They just marry up at age 25, and, you know, straight out of college, they're marrying someone. And I say it's about 50-50 about how much they actually stay together, but I don't think that's the right way to do it if you know God. You know, go with His time frame, let Him perfect you first, and do those things He need to do in you.
Yeah, because I've seen marriages where people got married before God was able to unpack your baggage with God first. Because if you take that into your marriage, that is a hard way to go. Not that you can't get through it if you're willing to go through it, but I'm not willing to go through it. I'd rather unpack my baggage with God, wherever He has for me, unpack His baggage with God, so we can come together without a lot of that.
Okay. All right. Did you have any final words, final comments? I think we had another topic. Did you have something that you want to touch on before you go? I know you had maybe some words of encouragement, maybe.
Oh, that's what it was. I thought I think my encouragement part was the part of letting people know, if you haven't, you've been waiting on God for your spouse and you haven't got it yet, it doesn't mean He's not coming or that God hasn't picked your spouse, him or her, for you. It's just that maybe He's still not done with healing you on the inside to prepare you to have you ready for that spouse. So still have hope, still be encouraged. Doesn't mean he or she is not coming. It's just maybe not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's awesome. So we're going to wrap up, but thank you for everyone that's joined us today. Now, we'll be doing this every other week. And so we won't go on next week, but we'll be on the following week. And so just hit that like, that notification if you haven't already. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and that notification bell so that keeps you in the loop. If you're on Facebook, be sure to follow us and give us a like. It helps us out with the algorithm on both Facebook and in YouTube, and which allows the message to get out to the broader audience so that all of our services, Bible study, Love Talk Live, and all our ministries, our Sunday ministries, can get out to more people, and that's what we want to do. And so, but thank you for joining us. We'll have a logo and possibly even theme music next time. We have some people who are awesome at our church who are working on some stuff that surprised me, and so once I get those things, and we're going to see, we probably going to have a pretty good little intro and everything about time we come back next, well, not next week, but the following week. And so
actually, if you want, you can also give us some topics that maybe we haven't thought about talking about, and y'all might be interested in, and you guys want us to talk about, submit them.
Yeah, you could drop us some questions on the comment line, or you could inbox us directly if you don't want nobody to see your name. And, and let us know if you want us to cover anything, any topics that you want us to talk about. And so, again, thank you. We're going to wrap up. Angie, any final words?
No, just thank you for joining us, and thank you for your support. We appreciate it, and I can't wait to do it again week after next.
All righty. And as always, I just want to say, if you're watching and you just peeked in, you're like, what are these people talking about? I know the Lord, or I'm not really sure if I know the Lord, but I have questions, and but I'm not sure about my relationship statuses, and I have so many spiritual questions, but I want to be sure. The greatest way to be sure, to first accept Lord Jesus as your Lord and Savior, and it's a very simple process. The first thing you do is just say, Lord Jesus, come into my life.
Come into my life.
Change me from the inside out.
Change me from the inside out.
And from this moment, I'll follow you.
I will follow you
for the rest of my days.
For the rest of my days.
Amen. And so you doing that prayer, you're saying you made Jesus your Lord and Savior, and now you can really get into Him, start praying. And if you don't have a good Bible believing church, we will find you one. You can also attend ours. We are right now online, and then once we open up, you can feel free to attend our services. If you're not local to the Detroit area, we will find you a good Bible believing church in your region. And so reach out to us. We got some good materials to send you on your journey. And again, if you have some questions about relationships and from a Christian perspective, or anything, that question that you may have, just send it to us, and then we'll get back with you. So everybody have a great night.
Night.
All right, peace.